Om Sahanau Bhavatu Sahanau Bhanaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let me give the overall picture so far, starting from the mantra that we had, the Shanti mantra, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamadachyate. Drawing the thread from there, very clearly, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam. And these two are not separate, it is one and the same thing, Purnat Purnamadachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya. That was the basic idea that we have started with. So now that Purna, we call it as Brahman. This Purna, we call it as the Jiva or Atma. So that means now, and there is nothing else other than this Purna is there. That means to say, we need to really get into this frame of mind that we are Purna, we are the Atma. So therefore in Sanskrit also, Atma is not that there is some substance. Atma is a case. Case means basically I. Moment I say I, that means Atman. The replacement of I in Sanskrit is what is that Atma. So I say case. Case is that when I refer to as I, like for example, being the subjective case we call it as is am, that is I am. You see, be is this word, be is the verb, and then am is the subjective case. So like that, I subjective case is Atma. So therefore the subjective case means actually it is Atma. So that way we understand it makes much more easy. So he is giving the whole idea about this Atma. So let us try to look into that. The first one that he said is Isha Upanishad and Ishavasyamadam Sarvam Tatkincha Jagat Yankat. That is whatever that is there, manifest world is nothing but the same Brahman, or what is called as Brahman at individual level, we call it as Atman. So therefore, but what is this difference between the Brahman and Atman? The difference is sthiti. The difference is the Brahman is sthiti, and then from the Atman, whatever Atman itself is the sthiti, then from Atman, whatever that comes out later on is supposed to be Gati. So all the Gati comes out of it. That's what is the manifestation of activity. That is the reason why it has become separate. Otherwise, there is no reason why Brahman has to become an Atman. The reason for that is that it is activity. That's what in the second sutra we have said, Kurvannaiva karmani, jiji vishe yatagum samaha. What is the attitude behind it is with passion that you do this activity every moment and all the time. But in what way it has to be done? Without any attachment. That's what is the manifestation of activity. And then from there he comes to the third sutra, saying that Asurya namate loka andhena tapasapataha. Now here there are a couple of points which let me try to recollect that. One is that sun is always there shining. Only thing is whether you keep your door open or you keep your door closed. That is what it makes a sense. If you keep your doors open, it is Surya. If you close the door, that is what is Asurya. So Asurya andhena tamasavrutaha. It is covered by andha tamasa. That means to say you have closed door for your Atman. So what is called as Atmahanta, other is Atmajnana. That means you live in this life, but with the doors closed to the Atman. So that is what is called as Atmahatya. That means when you say that you close the door for Atman, that means you think that you are the body, you are the other manifestations outside. So therefore, whatever that is there in the world outside, that you identify with that. That is what is called as Atmahanta. Atma Jnana is somebody who is established himself in Atma. So why is it called as Asurya Namate Lokaha Andhera Tamasa Vrtaha? That means Tam Se Pretya Abhigachanti Ekecha Atmahano Janaha. So Atmahanta are the people who are in the normal course, what we call it as Atmahatya is one who kills the body. But if from the Vedanta point of view, Atmahatya is somebody who recognizes that his body or his material world outside, identified with that, and then that means he forgot his Atma. He has already killed his Atma. That's why he's called as Atmahatya is that. So in that sense, it's a little daring statement which Upanishad says that we're all in the state of Atmahatya only. We are not in the Atma Jnana. So with this knowledge that we will become Atma Jnana, then what happens is that this world outside is there, interaction is there, but we know that it has its own limitations. That means it is for the purpose that it is taken. Like for example, I take the food for the purpose of appeasing my hunger. I don't expect anything beyond that. So this is what is the way that you involve in the world outside. So it is not the question of that you hate the world outside, but you know the world. It has got its. You have chosen. You have gotten this world. You have gotten the senses to interact with this world. It's your choice. So therefore, basically, that you have this. You have known nothing against this, but you know its limitations and work with that limitation. As simple as that, my eyes can only see, my ears can only hear, my tongue can only speak. So these are the limitations that it has got. Recognizing that we use it, we never even think about it. So, but then the next one he says, here there is another very important aspect is that Atma Hanoha Janaha. Now this in Taittiriya Upanishad, it comes with an idea called as the Atman is that for whose sake it is, who is utilizing the body outside. The body is that which is being used by the Atman. So when in that sense, Taittiriya Upanishad puts it very nicely, saying that the body, Atma for the body is prana, and Atma for the prana is mind, and Atma for the mind is intellect. See how beautifully that is. One serving the other, subserving the other, being part of it, but at the same time comes out of it. So this is a beautiful progress in which that the creation has taken place, which means basically right from the top, that means to say Jivatma, right up to the sensory organ level, it's all one and the same thing. And that means to say whatever that is not moving and also whatever that's moving is one and the same thing. They are not two separate things. And why he has to emphasize that in the fourth sutra, very strongly he emphasizes that because it's very easy for us to put these two things in two different platforms and say that one is opposite to the other. Like for example, speed is opposite to slowness, and manifested world is opposite to unmanifest. See, we always tend to keep it opposite, not just only opposite. We almost keep it like an enemy to it, animosity to it. That is no. It's all one and the same thing. That has become this. That's why it is so beautifully said that whatever that you call it as prana is the Atman for the body. So that means you are the prana. But at the same time, when you go towards the mind, manomaya kosha, prana is your body. Again, prana, you use it, your instrument in your hand. But the moment you go to the intellect, manas is also an instrument in your hand, but you are the Atman. That's what is intellect. But then Anandamaya Kosha, you are the Ananda. And all other things are the Atman, are the instrument for you. Intellect is also for the sake of instrument. It's not rejected. It's your own instrument. You created that. You use it when it is necessary. Use the intellect when it gives you Ananda. That means identifies you with that. If it doesn't give you Ananda, don't use intellect. See, intellect is a wonderful tool. You don't have to use that. You just, okay, it is fine. Otherwise you end up arguing for no reason. I gave, I think, a few times that example. It's a very nice example. I like it. Example from the real life. That's why I like it. I was sitting in the Frankfurt airport, and somebody came and said, "Are you a software?" I said, "No, I teach yoga." "Oh, yoga is very good. Yoga is very nice, very interesting, and all that." And when you do yoga, you don't feel like drinking. So when I was doing yoga, I never felt like drinking. Before that, he made that statement that women should drink, and then they don't have freedom. Then some incident happened in the Mangalore. Then when we came to the question of yoga, I said, "Oh, it's very nice, and every software engineer must do yoga." I said, "Wow, you have become suddenly a bhakta of yoga." I asked him why. Because the software engineers, I know that they drink. And if they do yoga, they don't feel like drinking, so that's very useful. Wow, men should not drink and women can drink. What is your argument? They say, yeah, 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 no, men are useful. Women are not useful. You can enjoy the intellect. You don't have to argue. The intellect, use it when it is necessary. Otherwise, don't unnecessarily get into argument. In Patanjali also gives the same thing. Idea. Vitarka, Savitarka, and Vinirvitarka. That means Tarka not being there. It's okay, fine. You go ahead. Yesterday also, some in the news channel that I was hearing that, तो रात बोलो तो ये रात है, ये ये है, and then it says, मैं सुबह से ही कह रहा हूँ ये रात है करके. Then I'm saying it as रात just because you said it. I have absolutely no objection about that. So that's fine. So I have so many stories like that, like Birbal and Akbar. And Akbar says that, every day bindi is made. You say, kya bindi? Hatha terke. Birbal says, yeah, horrible bindi. क्यों पता बनाया इसको? Let him stop it and all. अरे, till yesterday you were praising. He said, "Ma, Huzur, you were praising, so I was praising. Today you said it's bad. I said it's bad." And he says, Birbal says that I am your servant, not Bindi servant. All these beautiful stories are there to show why we unnecessarily waste it. But we are there. Now that is where basically he says that Anejadekam manaso jamiyaha nayanadeva apnan pura marshat yadhavato anyateti tishtati tasminapo matarishwa tathati. Both are one and only. Actually, whether it is moving or non-moving, it's all one and the same thing. And we have that very beautiful example of that. And that's what he brings about in the next sutra. Whatever moving is, what is not moving, it's one and the same thing. Only your perception. Your perception. And that's why I gave the simple example that I'm in the train trying to see off somebody. And I suddenly said, oh, train is moving. No, that person said, no, our train is stable. You look at the other side, platform is there and you are there. And you are looking at the moving train, therefore you think that I'm moving. You see, it's only your perception. Otherwise, it gives a very beautiful, important point to us, saying that either you can identify yourself with that which is moving, and you can also identify with what is not moving. And we have that, like for example, I was only the child and I only became adolescent, I became adult. So that means there is a movement going on, but I'm there behind it. But when activity takes place, that I'm one with the moving. I mean, if I don't move one with the moving, then I'll be a laughing stock. Like for example, I'm an adult. I should become like an adult. I should not become like a childish. 50 years, I still become a child. That means, what will happen to me? I should become mature. That's why somebody says, at least now Rahul Gandhi mature. So that means somebody is not yet mature. So move it. But one thing is there, but behind that non-moving, I am there. So that's what he says. And this is a beautiful example of a wheel. Wheel, axle is something which is stationary. And the wheel is something which is moving outside. And wheel movement outside is seen because of the axle there at the background. If the axle is not there, if that non-moving center is not there, then the movement in the wheel is not there. And like the way the blackboard is there, then only you can see the white lights, white letters. And you can wipe out the white letters and write new white letters and all that. It can be possible. But the background is one and the same. This is what you say is that is the same Brahman or same Atman, same individual. Tadejati, tannejati, tad dure, tadantike. It is there which is near, which is far. Near means basically far. Movement is possible because that there is a boundary. When there is no, from the point of view of when there is no boundary, then there is a question of there is no movement at all. But the moment when boundary comes, then only the movement comes. Then only interaction comes. So there are several analogies like that. When you go to the root of the tree, then the tree branches are all the same, leaves are also the same. But when you are at the leaf consciousness, then they are separate. Yes, there is a moment where you have to be in leaf consciousness, but at the same time you can be at the root consciousness also. And that's why it's a very beautiful saying, somebody saying that if you be identified with the flower, flower comes in the morning, flower goes back in the evening. It's dead. Whereas the moment you move from the flower to flowering, then season after season, day after day after day, the flowering will be there. So the difference is what you identify with. If you identify with something which is more subtler, deeper, then you see that movement is taking its place outside. You are not caught up in that particular moment. Success and failure, or good and bad, all these things are different things that are there in the outside. But if you identify yourself as something which is at the root, then it doesn't, this difference will not be there. That's what in the fifth sutra, tadejati, tannejati, taddure, tadantike. That Atma Tattva itself is something which is near, is also far. That means I am deep inside at the heart, my heart of hearts. I am the Atma Tattva. That I know very well. But at the same time, at the body level, yes, I am also at this body. I take care of this body. Like the way that body is for my, at my, responsibility. So the whole thing that is there in the material world outside, I only created, therefore I have responsibility towards that. With responsibility, I make use of it. So I don't want to abuse this. I don't want to misuse this. I don't want to neglect this just because that I become spiritual. And that's why in Ramakrishna's Paramahamsa's story, um, uh, two people come from Calcutta and midday, and then Ramakrishna asks them to come inside, make them to sit down. And then usually people come to Ramakrishna to ask some questions. So Ramakrishna, initial greeting, get them water, this and that. After that, they're looking around. And Ramakrishna says, it looks like, you have come here. Do you have any question? Do you have anything to ask? You can ask me. We can have conversation. Instead of asking question, they were looking around. And Ramakrishna was surprised. They were still looking around. And then afterwards, they said, because Ramakrishna insisted, yes, you can ask me question. Then they started questioning, but we heard that you are a Paramahamsa. And Thakur just laughed and said, yeah, people call this as Paramahamsa. Never used to call I. People call this as Paramahamsa. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But you can ask me questions. Then Paramahamsa means, you should not have any attachment, you should not have any possessions or anything like that. But you have a nice cot to stay. I mean, nice room and nice cot and all that. And Thakur says, yes, this temple that they have given me this room and then this cot is there. And I'm nice here. But then Ramakrishna still wanted them to come to the point. He never realized that that was the point that they were asking actually. And he says, but you have some nice dress also. Thakur said, yes. After all, he was wearing some nice dress and nice dress was there on the hook there. Yeah, Ramakrishna said, yes, I have nice dress and all that. Now slowly Ramakrishna is becoming suspicious that these people are heading at something else. And you have all those things and I have a kitchen also, Nahabat Khana. And I have wife also. finish. That was like a bombshell for them. And she prepares nice, wonderful. I like her preparation. Wow, that was too much for them. And then I said, but then people, why do they call you as Paramahamsa? Yeah, I don't know why do they call me as Paramahamsa, but they call me. Then they said, disappointed, they said, I think we have come to the wrong place. Thakur said, yes, I think I've come to the wrong place. I'm a priest, I'm sitting here, and I have my wife, and I have all these things. Better you go to somebody else, somewhere else. And then they got up and then they were going, and Ramakrishna from behind calls them. Hey, Badra Purush, come on. They thought that Ramakrishna will give them explanation. They come running back. And then when they come, Ramakrishna says, I also have a mosquito net. Added to all this, wants to tease them. And then they just, oh, this is also there, so like that. So what happens is that it has its utility, it has purpose, but this understanding is very important. Respect, utility for this world outside is something which a spiritual person will have it. Because after all, it's from the same divinity, same God creation that it has happened. So therefore, we have no slight view about these things. It's all very important. That's why that sutra, the fifth one, tadejati, tannejati, taddure, tadvantike, tatu antarasya, sarvasya, tatu sarvasyasya bahyata. It's not just only me, it's what everything. Inside it is the same thing, outside it is the same thing. So inside is also the same Atman, same consciousness, outside also the same consciousness. But now the question comes that how that outside with all these limitations you say is the same consciousness. Inside the consciousness, I can understand that it does not have any limitation, no boundaries. Atman is no boundaries and Brahman is no boundaries. So what is that which has got the boundaries outside? That's why I have given that model, which really appealed to me very much, is that consciousness is nothing but the freedom. Idea of consciousness is freedom. And that freedom, when has another very important component of the freedom is to give up its freedom. If it has no freedom to give up its freedom, then it is to that extent it's bound. This is where the mistake. They thought that whatever that freedom consciousness, and that's what is real, and whatever that is not having that freedom is mithya. That means it is illusion. This is what they created. So Maya, this Maya and mithya concept is a mistaken concept about that. It is a different connotations. It is not this way. But what happened is that within its boundaries, it has been created. It is same consciousness giving up its freedom to become something which is a lesser freedom. Like for example, the same, now we can apply to our individual level. Our mind is something which can really see, hear, everything it can do it. Everything belongs to the mind. What you hear belongs to the mind. What you see belongs to the mind. What you taste belongs to the mind. What you touch belongs to the mind. Everything belongs to the mind. But mind itself cannot touch, cannot see, cannot do. The transaction is not possible, mind alone. Mind has to give up its freedom to become eyes, because eyes can only see, limited to only see. That limitation, that eyes come into being because it has given up consciously its freedom. It has always that particular ability to give up the freedom to become eyes, to give up the freedom to become ears so that it can hear. So this way, transaction level, to make a transaction possible to the world outside, it has given up. Now, outside world is also nothing but same Brahman, becoming these five different Panchabhutas. There also, when you look at Panchabhutas, there also look at the way that it is the degree of freedom. Like Akasha, Brahman is the total freedom. Akasha is the next degree where it has space. That means any Avakasha, any possibility is there, that's what is Akasha. But then Akasha also has to give up its freedom to become what is called as energy, Tejas. Then it becomes Vayu. Then you see at the Vayu level, that means it's not just air, It's a question of anything which is a air-like thing. That's what is gas is supposed to be the next. So gases have some degree of freedom, three-dimensional freedom. You can fill the gas in any container, it can occupy that. Whereas the same thing when it comes to the level of liquids, further gives up its freedom. Now the three-dimensional freedom is gone. It only takes the shape. Two-dimensional freedom it has got. You put the liquid in any particular container, it takes the shape of that container. And it has its utility. Like the gases has its utility, liquids have its utility. And from the liquid, when it comes to further down, Prithvi is solid. It has got given up all the freedom so that it becomes solid. But solid has also its knowledge, its particular quality. And that's what is the Vijnanamaya Kosha of solid. It's stable, it is steady, it maintains that shape, all that is there, and make use of it in the way that it is solid to be used. So all these things are one progressing into the second to see that how now you can understand that giving up the freedom is going towards matter and gaining the freedom is going towards consciousness. So therefore, the world to become is to give up the freedom to become the world. And going to the spirituality is getting back to the freedom. Or identifying ourselves with that one which has got the freedom with it. So therefore, when it is necessary, I go to the least degree of freedom when I have to use it. But when I go to the deep myself, inside, I realize that I have the total freedom within me. This is what is Atma. That's what Patanjali also said. If you move towards the lack of freedom, that's what is the prapancha outside. He says, Tatha drashtu vritti sarupya mitaratraha. Whereas drashtu swarupya avasthanam, when you are free yourself. So that freedom is what is Swarupa. You go back to that. What Patanjali says is also exactly what Isha Upanishad also says, that tadejati, tannejati, taddure, tadvantike, tadu antarasya sarvasya, in everything that is there, tatuhu sarvasyasya vakyataha. Whatever that is there inside is also the same. And once again, he emphasizes that point in the next sutra, sixth sutra, yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati sarvabhuteshu atmanam tato na vijigupsate. Now, you see that the Atman, that means to say deep inside the core of everything, is one and the same thing. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati. So anupashyati is that you have deep inside the perception. When it happens like that, sarva bhuteshu atmanam tatona vijgupsate. The same way that in everything that you see the Atma, that means whatever that you are, the same thing in the others also. That means to say, all that which is making the division outside, because the division is the way that we come to be separate from the outside, leave all the divisions outside. Then you see that we are one and the same thing. And in fact, this is the same kind of thing which the perception where you are makes it different. Like, for example, at one level perception, we are dvaitins. That means we are multiplicity. You are you, I am there. And I have respect for you with all your qualities as you are. And I have a respect for myself with all my qualities. Individuals, everybody is respected that way. So therefore, respect everybody in total, complete fullness of that person is what is called as Dvaita. But for some particular purpose, what happens is that deep inside we are all one and the same thing. And that's what is the same consciousness. That's what is Advaita. So Advaita is the ultimate. Dvaita is the way that transaction which is there outside. If we are somewhere in between, that's what is Visishta Advaita. And Visishta Advaita cannot be one thing, it can be many. Like, for example, we are all sitting in one classroom. So this classroom belongs to one unit. It's like the way one single body that there are different cells doing different activities. Like that, we have different people here doing different kind of activity, but we all belong to one unit. And this is there emotionally within us. Emotionally, we get connected with that. Like, for example, if you meet somebody who is doing this Vedantic course or something, oh yeah, you're also the same person. You see, at once that feeling is there. Even in a small and simple thing, like for example, in Bangalore, generally it happens very easily, frequently, that you go on a road, the road is very clear, everything is there, you go in the finally when you go to the end, you see there that there is some BWSSB, they have dug a trench, the road cannot go, you cannot even take back, miserable state. And you curse the BBMP or BWSSB saying that they did not put the board. And then somehow you take a turn, you reverse it, and somebody else is going on that same road. Don't you just stop him and say, Bhaisha, please don't go there. This road is not, continuous. There is a block on this road. Please don't take. Why did you feel that way? Somewhere deep inside, his suffering becomes your suffering. You don't dislike him. Oh, but there are some people, exception, who say that let him also go and suffer and come back. But that's a different issue. Once we are into the Ishavasya level, that feeling will not be there. So that is what he says, Tato na vijugupsate. Wow, it's a very beautiful word. Vijugupsa is not there. That means hatred is not there. Dislike is not there. Negative is not there. And when the negative is not there, prema automatically happens. Love automatically happens. Oneness automatically happens. And that one, you see, division is vibhakti and oneness is bhakti. That means automatically bhakti will be there within. And that's what the Upanishad says so beautifully. Sarveshu bhuteshu cha atmanam. You see that in everything that is you, tato na vijugupsate. It's I like that word called as na vijugupsate. That means I have no hatred at all within me. And that's what we say in our Shanti Mantra also, that this, sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. There is no. Similarly, Ishavasya in the other thing also that we say, the Shanti Mantra, that is Sahanau Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhanaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvi Navaditam, Ma Vidvishava. That Vidvisha there is Vidugupsa here. Desha is not there, hatred is not there. It's such a beautiful statement there, that you have nothing to hate. You might like it, you might not like it. I like one particular thing. Yes, we have our preferences, we have our likings. But it does not mean what does not fall in the liking is not that I hate it. Mother says to the child, before going out, have one banana at least. You see, the boy says to reply to her, I hate banana. You don't like banana, you don't want banana, that's a different thing. But I hate banana, a negative connotation. Banana is sitting at the table doing nothing. It's so nice, so soft and gentle. And you hate it. A banana which is softly sitting there, you hate it. What will you do if somebody does something? You directly go to become aggressive. So, beginning of our aggression is what is Vijigupsa. Where there is no aggression is what your natural state. Natural state, there is no Vijigupsa. Love is natural. The Upanishad doesn't say that you develop love. You don't have to develop love. Love, you're already there. It's like the way the cloud is removed, sun already shines. And cloud is around your head, your eyes, not of the sun. But now, we say that the sun goes behind the clouds. Sun can never go behind the clouds. Sun is so huge, clouds are so small. But then we say sun is clouded. Sun can never be clouded. We are clouded. But why do we say that sun is clouded? Then we can't accept that we are clouded. See, eye gets hurt. So therefore we say sun is behind the cloud. You can't produce enough clouds, cloud the sun. This is what Shankaracharya's disciple Sureshwacharya, he says that Ganachanna Markam Ganachanna Drishti. Arkam, that means sun, is Ganachannam. That means he is covered by the cloud. You say Ganachanna Markam. sun is clouded, but actually Ganachanna Drishti, my eyes are clouded. For my eyes to cloud, one speck of dust is sufficient, or one drop of soap is sufficient to fall in your eye. After the bath, the next cup, or Shigekai, especially when you take the head bath, you see, come out of it with red eyes. So your eyes are clouded, not the sun. Ganachanna Markam, Ganachanna Drishtihi, Yadanashvapannam cha Atimudha. He says Atimudha. That means it's highly stupid. Why? Because the ego is covered. Stupidity is you don't know it. Highly stupid is you don't even agree with that. You think that you know it. That's what Sureshwaracharya says. So it basically our ego says that the sun is clouded behind it. Sun can never be clouded. Sun is so big. So therefore, essentially what happens is that Vijugupsa is the way that you cover yourself. So, yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyate. You are there in everything. Sarva bhutesh atmanam. Everywhere, nothing but the same consciousness. Like the way that your mind has become your eyes and ears and all those things. Why can't I think the same way that everybody else's mind has become the ears and etc. is also mind. And everybody's mind is also nothing but coming out of the same intellect. And everybody is coming from the same consciousness that I am coming from. So when I start identifying myself with that, then I will be able to see that. Then tato na vijugupsate. There is never that vijugupsa, that negativity will be there. There's a very beautiful mantra, tato na vijugupsate, he says. And that leads to the next sutra, seventh sutra. And yasmin sarvani bhutani atmanyeva bhut vijanatah tatra komohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyata. See, Vijani, earlier sutra, yes, sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati. That means you try to see that. Here, yasmin sarvani bhutani atmanyeva bhut vijanataha. Vijanataha means one who realizes that. That means one more step ahead. Intellectually, I'm convinced about it, but now I feel that experientially. The gap between the intellectual knowledge and the experience is so big difference, such a big difference. It's an extraordinary difference. And once you get into that state, then moha will not be there, mind will not be there. And when moha is not there, shoka is not there. You see, this is what is the difference that I said last time also. Dukkha and shoka, there is a big difference. Dukkha is something we all have it. But shoka, we don't have to have it. Dukkha is, you know, yeah. That is basically it is based on the situation outside. Yeah, somebody dies, it brings about dukkha. Separation brings about dukkha. It's unbearable. But then shoka is there or not, it's up to you. Whether I feel shoka or on the other side, I feel such a great person about him. In fact, this is what in Narada also says that many times the viraha will make us to know how much I love. In fact, that's what Mirabai says, that the amount of viraha for Krishna that I feel shows how much I love Krishna. Otherwise, I never knew that I love Krishna so much. So you gave me that viraha bhava so that I can see that how much I love you. Then what happens is the shoka is not there. And I've given various examples that Mandodari is saying to Rama, I'm now satisfied. Who killed my husband? Dukkha is there, but shoka is not there because such a great person like you have killed my husband, Ravana. I have great respect for it. You see, this is what happens. If you have shoka, then you have animosity towards the other. You curse. Whereas if you don't have shoka, you have dukkha, then you feel really elevated. You feel in a different framework altogether. Dukkha is there. Dukkha we cannot avoid. Sukha, dukkha, these two are the same side, it's the same scale. And the cursor moves from one side to other side, it is dukkha. In a very simple example also, we can say that cup of coffee early morning gives me sukha. But the same 10 cups of coffee that it gives me dukkha. Give dukkha does not mean I give up coffee. I still want like to have early morning coffee that is there. And so that I know that I don't want to have more than 1 cup of coffee a day. That's a different issue. Sukha dukkha belong to the same scale. But this one, shoka, is not necessary. Shoka is not there for you. ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So essentially, he says, Tatra komoha kashokaha. You see, there's a big, beautiful difference that he makes. He says, moha mamatva, that means this boundary, is the one which gives about shoka. In fact, we need to understand this clearly. Once, somebody trying to recollect. Very nice person, very close person, and he died. And naturally, the wife is in so much of sorrow, dukkha was there. And then she came to me and said, Raghuramji, after having all this knowledge of Vedanta, I still feel dukkha. Is it not wrong for me? Is it because the attachment, because of this? I said, no, you should feel dukkha because individual is there, individual is not there. That's a loss. But only thing is shoka need not be there. That means suffering need not be there. You feel that person, you see, what happens is if dukkha is there, you don't want to change the situation. You don't have a complaint about the situation. Yes, whatever that happened, it's because of the God's plan. Accordingly, it happened. But then shoka is created by your attachment to the world outside. Your mamatva depends. So that mamatva, it's my investment is there on that. That's what I suffer. And it's in a very, there's a very big sense that I'm talking about. But in a smaller way also, in our dialogue, in our small little transaction, we can see that. A boy does something wrong. Why did you do something wrong? You should not be behaving like this in the school. So far, it's okay. You didn't like him to do. You didn't want him to do. But the next dialogue says, being my son, you should not have been doing this. That means if you're somebody else's son, you could still do it. So look at the difference between the idea. Being my son, you should not have been. Being my husband, you shouldn't be speaking like this. Or being my wife, you should not be doing it. Somebody else's wife can do it. You see, that means basically this moha comes into the picture. So that's why tatra po moha. That means boundary does not take place. When you see in everybody the same consciousness that you are there. Now what happens is, now this difference between, what is the difference between these two things is that one is existence and the other is something is existing. Please understand that. A plant, it is not existing, but existence is there on the flower. And that's why flower looks to be existing. Similarly, I'm existing. This is what is the physical thing that is there, which has no existence. But on top of it, superimposed by the existence. So this existence and existing is something which we need to make it different. And that's what is essentially the way that, in fact, I give this example also. Existence you do not see. Something existing, you can see that. Existence itself, you cannot see. Knowledge itself, you cannot see. Knowledge of something that you can see that. Bliss itself, you cannot see. Happiness, you can see that. So that's why existence, knowledge, bliss is Brahman. That's what is consciousness. That's what you are. And you mount on these objects so that it will happen. I give this example of the full moon night. You see the dark sky everywhere, and only the full moon that is shining at the sky. It looks so beautiful. All around there is darkness. Only the moon is there, which is shining. Very enchanting, pleasant kind of an experience. But we know today, according to the science, that moon himself does not shine. Moon borrows the light from the sun and shines. But in the sky, you see from one end to the other end. You don't see sun at all anywhere. Sun is somewhere on the other side. That means to say that sunlight is falling on the moon and then you are seeing it. That means all the way right from the sun, the sunlight is traveling in the sky to fall on the moon, which means the whole sky is full of the sunlight, but you don't see that. So what is the conclusion out of it? Sunlight, you do not see it. Only when sunlight shines on something that you see that. Same way you see the objects, you see everything existing, but actually whatever that is, existence is reflected, you are seeing. Existence itself you are not seeing. The same way that you are also the same existence. You are existing as eye, you are existing as ear, you are existing as tongue, you are existing as ear. That means when you are hearing. When you don't hear, you are not one with that ear. But then you are there as a one behind it. So this is what the same thing about the world outside also. The whole world, yasmin sarvani bhutani, atmanyeva bhudvijanataha, tatra ko mohaha, kashokaha, ekatvam anupashyata. No moha, no shoka. Now he comes to the next level. That's what is the 8th sutra. Yaha pariyagachu, pariyagad, shukram, akayam, avarnanam, asnaviram, shuddham, apapavidham. This is kavim manishi paribhu swayambhuhu yatha tatyato arthan vyadadhat shashvatibhya samabhya. So now he comes to this idea. What is basically is the I gave this difference between the existing and existence. He comes to that part of it. The existence is something which is itself does not have any body. As the sunlight itself does not have any body. Sunlight as manifest on this moon, then you can see that. Sunlight itself does not have any body. And when you look at that particular analogy, pariyagachum, and whatever that is body, that is God, is something which is created. All these things are created by Pantabhutas. That's what we have seen earlier. So what is created is about the material world outside. And that's the reason why I say that even your intellect is nothing but the content of intellect is about the world outside. It's all physics, chemistry, math, this, that, and all that. Or the knowledge of cooking, knowledge of world, knowledge of Bangalore, knowledge of this. So everything is about the world outside. That's what your intelligence is all about. Intellect is all about. So intellect is something, the content of intellect is something which is made out of it. And today it is something, tomorrow it can be different, it can be changed. So it can undergo a change. And depending upon place and time and all that. If you are born in Hindu family, you are a Hindu. If you are born in a Christian family, you are a Christian. So that means there are so many things that are the outside. Whereas you are somebody who is beyond all these things. And that you are is not because of the combination of the work outside, but you are yourself. This is what is called as Swayambhu. Paribhu means born out of something else outside. Swayambhu means born by itself. It does not have any cause, it does not have any reason, because all other things has this idea of cause and effect, cause and result. So Karya Karana Sambandha is there. But you don't have any Karya Karana. That means to say, you are not because of something else. And Brahman is not because of anything else. That is the reason why I said Brahman wanted to become you, and then you became. So you are also the Brahman. There is no question of any bondage. That means Karana is there, that's what is bondage. There is no Karana for you for being there. That means you are totally free yourself. Only thing is that you don't realize that you are the free. In Yoga Vasishta, he puts very beautifully saying that Baddhosmiti mananat baddhabhava mapadyate. The more and more I think that I'm bound, I'm bound. Whereas muktosmiti mananat mukti bhava mapadyate. You are mukti means basically that bhava when you manana, then you have freedom. Jivosmiti manamat jiva bhava mapadyate. Brahmosmiti mananat brahma bhava mapadyate. It's all within you. In fact, when you are it's a very simple analogy that we have, is that when you are in the dream, you become dream personality. Dream becomes so real, absolutely real. And whatever that happens in the dream, you are caught up by the dream. But the moment you wake up from the dream completely, summum bonum goes away. You can't say that, okay, let me solve this problem, then I wake up, because you are caught up in the forest. See, in the dream, you are nicely going in the forest, it's a beautiful forest, green forest, everything is very nice. You always dream to go in the forest all alone. There are no sounds, no other things other than chirping of the birds. So beautiful, so lovely. Always dream starts with such a nice, wonderful tone. Beautiful, you are enjoying, you are like in the Brahmaloka, you are that kind of an experience. And when everything is going on like that, like in the movie, the dream also, the problem comes up. Suddenly you hear some roaring sound, frightening sound, and then you look around, where is that coming from? You say a tiger is following you, chasing you. The moment you see the tiger chasing you, now you run for your life. Run, run, run. After all, you know very well that the tiger you created. The dream is yours, tiger is you created. Then therefore, basically the tiger runs behind you. And you run at the top of your speed. But the tiger is faster than you. Tiger is always faster than a human being, so that's what it. And now a point comes where the tiger almost catches you. At that point of time, some wisdom prevails. You jump up and hold onto the tree branch. So that when once you are holding on the tree branch, you are on the tree, the tiger was down below, you feel relieved. And you sit on the branch, the tiger is down there, you feel comfortable, but it doesn't take too long to realize you hear some hissing sound somewhere. Where is that hissing sound? You look around. The branch on which that you are sitting, a cobra is coiling and coming closer to you. Oh my God, that I thought I saved myself from the tree, from the tiger. Now the cobra is there, then coming towards you. You jump onto another branch so that you save yourself. Cobra didn't notice. Big relief, very big relief. And now the forest is beautiful, nice, everything is fine. Cobra is on one side safe, tiger is down there, you are safe on the branch. When everything looks to be pleasant, suddenly you hear some creaking sound. And looking around, where is this strange creaking sound coming? It's not coming from anywhere else, but on the branch that you are sitting. Because your weight, the branch is slowly giving way. Now, any moment you will fall down. Oh my God, that's another fear comes up. And down below, you see a huge valley. You don't know where you will fall. And you are in such a situation. And you start thinking whether you should pull the snake out, cobra away, or get down and fight with the tiger, or let me go down the valley. Whatever happens, that's fine. Vedanta says, don't do anything, wake up. You don't have to, problems are not separate. You just total one thing you wipe off. Like the way the whiteboard, blackboard, all that, whatever that is written, some problem, some formula of physics, some formula of chemistry, some formula of electronics and all that, just wipe off, take the wipe off. That's what happens. Just wipe off. And that's what the moment everything is wiped off, clean it is. You don't have to separately wipe out. So this way, when you just clean the whole thing that is there, whatever it is in the world, nothing matters. That's what is the power of dream. And sometimes people say, when the child is crying because of bad dream, mother says, come on, wake up. No, no, let me solve the problem, then wake up. There is no problem to solve, first of all. The problem you created, just wake up, the problem is gone. So problems are no more a problem the moment you have a phase change. Your orbital change has to take place. You change the orbit. That what is the organic chemistry also says. You change the orbit. All the energy is left behind. It's finished, gone. That's what is the whole thing. So you become peaceful the moment you change the orbit. Vedanta says, don't find fault with the world or anything like that. Just change the orbit. And that's what is the science, the Swayambhu is there inside. Now, this is a big difference between the material world outside and self. The world outside is not Swayambhu. It's created by the world, by the intelligence, by various things that are there. From the same nature that all these things are created, but you are Swayambhu. You are not somebody who is created. Right from the beginning, so that's why it's not, don't look at what is Swayambhu. Look at whatever that is being created outside, that's not you. It's a very big important thing because basically most of our ego is about what we created. What is being created? The land is mine, this is mine. How can you say that that's fine? In fact, Isha Upanishad, in the beginning, mantra, first mantra, we have seen that. Land we say it is not, it is mine. It's not yours, it's there even before you came here. It is created. Today's science, we know that. It's created by separating itself from the earth and it became separate. For a period of time, you are a custodian towards that. For a period of time, you are a custodian for this body. For a period of time, you are a custodian for the land. You are not that. Don't identify with that. There's one great writer, Aldous Huxley, was in California, and he was a Nobel Prize winner actually. He had written nice books and all those things. He had a huge collection of all antique things at his home. All strange things all over the world that he would collect and then keep it as an exhibition. He would enjoy all that. Lot of collections from centuries that he brought that and kept it in his exhibition. And that's very well known. And all that was there. And people see that how passionate he is with all the collections that was there. Very passionate. Vintage cars, vintage this, vintage that. All that he used to have it. For thousands of years he had kept that. One time he was on tour somewhere else, and then California was actually caught up with the forest fire. And the forest fire actually has completely engulfed his museum also. Everything is completely burned down. And when the people came to know that everything is burned down, they said, this man will be heartbroken. Aldous Huxley will be heartbroken. And how to tell him, how to make him know, and how to console him, all that people were worried about it. And then Aldous Huxley comes back and they sees everything burned down. He said, wow, what a big relief. Now we don't have anything to take care of it. Finish. The whole thing is gone at one stroke. He didn't have identification with that. That means he could see that he separated himself from the world outside. So this is what is Swayambhu, is that which is not created. World is that which is created. So that means there's a whole science, whole knowledge, whole idea about what the world created and the whole knowledge of self. One who knows a solid knowledge of self is Atmavidu. One who doesn't know about the Atman is Atmahanta. And Purnamadaha is what you are. Purnamidam. Yes, creation is wonderful. Creation is Purna. But you have the knowledge about that. The whole thing is there. Knowledge is there, but identification is not there. And this is how all these things are connected. Now, this Isha Rishi comes to that. Pariyagachukrama Akayam Avarnanam. These are the beautiful words. Akayam means subtle body. That means a subtle body, we don't have, the nervous system, glandular system, that system, they're not there. It's all one. Like the way inside the seed, the tree is there, the whole tree is there inside the seed. But there, if you open the seed, you do not find the leaves, you do not find the branches, you do not find the stem. Nothing is there. That means the details are not there. That's what is the subtle world. Ashnayum, avarnam. This is what is where gross body. Gross body has nervous system, gross body has glandular system, gross body has all these arrangements. Eyes are there, ears are there. Look at the very simple thing. At the mind level, you have hearing, and you have knowing, you have seeing. All those knowledge is there. But you don't have eyes, you don't have ears. You see, eyes and ears belong to the world outside. That's why I gave that example, that the moment that you go to the mind level, mind does not have this division. And for the sake of the mind, all these divisions are created. So that's why I said, mind is the Atma for the body. Manomaya kosha is the Atma for Pranamaya kosha and Annamaya kosha. Divisions are there. At the prana level also there are divisions. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana. At mind level, Manomaya kosha level, there are no divisions. Divisions are there in the world outside. So divisions belong to the world outside, and divisions, why the divisions have happened? How does it happen? It has its knowledge. And this is the knowledge about the world outside. But then the Atman doesn't have any divisions. Atman is only one thing. So that's what is basically Ashna, it is Ashna Viram. That means to say at that consciousness level, there are no nervous system and Shuddham. That's it. Whatever may be the things that are there outside, it's always pure. It's always simple. It's always clear. Shuddham means that it's not contaminated. In fact, even the simple sky level, you can see that whatever may be the clouds, whatever may be the pollution that exists in the sky is not touched by that. Whatever the image that comes in front of the mirror is not touched by that. So therefore, Shuddham, Apapa Vidham. It's a very consoling assurance kind of thing. You as an Atman, you are not touched by any Papa outside. There is nothing like sin at all. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, it's a sin to call a man a sinner. And unfortunately, the whole religion is based on the original sin. Indian philosophy says you can never be a sinner. You might do anything, but you are never a sinner. Identify yourself with freedom from the sin. Ashnaviram, apapavidham, kavim, manishi paribhu swayambhu. The swayambhu is a beautiful word. Yadha tatyat tatartho vyatatan sharit shashvatibhya samabhya. One who understands that this is what is eternal. This is what is continuously. Shashvatibhya. And it is not time bound. You are not time bound. Yes, you are a child, you are an adolescent, you are an adult. You see that a very simple thing that within you, there is something which is not time bound. Shashvatibhya samabhya. That's what is Atma Tattva. That's what we are. We are that Atman. And all other things are this Atman created that. Like the way moon comes out of sun. Today the science says, and then the moon reflects the sunlight. Therefore, you see the moon. Moon himself does not have the sunlight. The sunlight reflects on the moon. Same way, all the object that you see, every object, everything that you see has the consciousness behind it reflecting on the object. And the object has its own science, material world has its own science, and then another deeper science is, so there are these two different kinds of knowledge. One is the knowledge of the external world and the knowledge of the internal world. So Upanishad, particularly Isha Upanishad, does not disregard, does not look down upon knowledge about the world outside, variety of the world outside. That's the reason why in this culture, we had an extraordinary, wonderful development of the material world. But at the same time, we are extraordinary about the spiritual world. We knew about the stars. When the world never thought that the earth can be round, we said that Bhugola. At that point of time, we knew. When the world did not know that the sun is the center of the solar system, we knew that not only the sun is the solar system, there are several suns, not one sun. All the stars are sun. We knew that. That means to say, we knew the material world outside. At the same time, we also progressed in the spiritual world with it. We did not identify with it. We did not get caught up in that. We had a great respect for the world outside. Such extraordinary, wonderful respect about the world outside. And we went to the world outside with respect. The rest of the world went to the world outside out of fear, out of protection. Whereas we didn't go to the world out of protection, out of fear, because we know that the outside world is something which is short-lived. However much you try, it is there for some time. It will not be Shashvata. But Shashvatibhya Samabhyaha, that means which is there everywhere, you and me and the objects. And that's what is Atma Tattva. Realize this Atma Tattva. That's what is the idea in the seventh sutra. So now we come to a level where how this division has taken place about the inside and outside, these things have come. Now onwards, it goes into further sutras which will elaborate on this aspect of it. It's an extraordinary, wonderful wisdom Isha Upanishad gives. I'll stop it here and we'll continue the discussion. Very, very interesting topic comes after that. 9th, 10th sutras are extraordinary, extraordinary wisdom that Isha Upanishad shares with us. Let's look into that. Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So any questions? You can unmute. Come to me.
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
This self-respect is a word that has a big hype. So is
Yeah.
it with the outside world, or what is that we are respecting?
Self-respect is arrogance, the way that we use it. Whereas self-realization is what we look at. This is the difference between Abraham Maslow's actualizing and Indian psychology of realizing. Actualizing is your potential, your ability to do it. You are much better than others. You prove all those things. And that is what is self-actualization, Abraham Maslow's point of view. Whereas we said, no, you realize yourself. It is not the external skills. And self-respect, you see that, you have to respect me because I've done this work, I've done that. You don't know about myself. You only know about what the work that I've done. I don't even care for whatever that I've done outside. And I want you to care for me. I don't want it. The self-respect has no no respect in Vedanta.
When we are not worried about the self-respect, the people around us feel she can be told anything, or
yeah.
so it's
Yes.
that okay with their
Okay. Now, whatever that comes from outside, we take it with our own yardstick. Okay, it's all right. It is useful, I take it. Not useful, I don't take it. It's as simple as that. All right. That's why I give this very simple example. This, when I was working as an engineer, I told my boss very clearly, I'm working this for the sake of my livelihood. That means I get salary. My life is different. So this work, I do it for the sake of salary. And you call me donkey, you call me lazy, you call me this thing, you did not work well. They said, all those things are okay. I still smile at you. I still talk to you nicely because I talk to you nicely. And you can't do anything with my salary. At the end of the month, salary comes into my account, it goes there. Fine, forget about it.
Thank you, Raghu. I have one more doubt.
Ah,
That's not related to the topic
yeah.
today. You spoke about the yamas and niyamas changing according to today's
Yes.
world. But again, we also know the sutra is like applicable forever in any kind of, in any yuga or any world. So how these yamas and niyamas then can change?
Change in the sense this way, whatever that he has given, Satya, Ahimsa, etc. Yes, we need to have it.
The
But
way
apart from
we
that, apart
yes,
from that, sorry, yeah.
yes, please continue.
Apart from that, in a situation like, for example, you are in a family. The family has certain rules and regulations, and then you frame yamas and niyamas according to that. What I said is that this 5 yamas and niyamas Patanjali gives are like standard ones, and there also aparigraha, etc., may not be applicable for everybody every time. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, to some extent, okay, it's all right. But other than that, we don't have very clear picture about those things. I can give a talk about those things also. But what happens is, apart from these things, we have to have our own yamas. Yama is the discipline at the introduction. Yes, when I'm in a particular situation, I use the introduction discipline. I don't talk the way that, uh, without losing this kind of a discipline, I will set up a discipline myself. This is what is yama. Similarly, niyamas. I'm all by myself. I set up certain niyamas that I follow it. And according to the situation. Like, for example, I'm in India, my niyamas are something different. But the moment I go to USA, giving that kind of a situation or somewhere in some way, other culture and all that, I follow niyamas according to that culture. I don't adapt the niyamas here. Like for a simple thing is that while I'm in Prashanti, I don't eat onion and garlic. Prashanti doesn't give that. But if I have that same niyamas for myself, and if I go to the world outside, I cannot survive. Because everywhere, any place, even in Bangalore, when you go outside to eat, there's onion and garlic and masala dosa also. Forget about it. So therefore, I must have it. So I changed my niyamas.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Mm.
Raghuramji, when you say dukkha and shoka,
Yeah.
dukkha is seeing death the way it is. Example,
Yeah.
and shoka is when I say that I have lost my dear one. Is it that, my understanding, is it clear?
A little more elaborate when we go into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I'll give you an example that if it is not my dear, I don't feel dukkha. That is not actually the way it is. If somebody dies, it's a dukkha. It's not me or somebody else's. But shoka is something where my comes into the picture. That's why moha and shoka are connected with that. Shoka is not. You see, otherwise, he would have very clearly said, dukkha and shoka are connected. Dukkha and shoka are not connected. Moha and shoka are connected. That pair. Very tricky thing that Isha asked you. See, that's why I said that, when you read Upanishad, you have to be very careful. These people are very cunning. Upanishad rishis, they put some key somewhere.
It
And
is beautiful.
uh,
It's beautiful what you're saying,
yeah.
but equally challenging to implement.
Right. Equally
So
challenging.
it is like, seeing, okay, to some extent, joy seeing in the face of it, we can understand. Or it might be even in hunger, food that we say. Don't see like, it as your favorite food or something, but see it as food. We can understand. But when it comes to death and loss and all, so this self, that moha, foregoing that, it becomes slightly tricky, overwhelming to implement.
I give you the example, very, very live example in front of me. When Shantaram was dying, we were there by his side. Sonali was also there and we were there. Literally that night, previous night, myself and Ratna, whole night we were there with him, taking care of every need. We said, Sonali, you sit outside because you have done enough for the life. At that point of time, looking at the suffering of Shantaram, let him die. And his death, do you mean to say it does not give us the dukkha? It gives us immense dukkha. Of all my brothers, my connection with Shantara is very extraordinary, exclusive. There is nothing which can replace that. Dukkha was terrible, but I was not in shoka because basically that death will give him such a big relief. Big relief. So that was the kind of thing. And that night I was remembering, right from the childhood, I spent time with Shantaram. It was unbelievable kind of relationship we had.
Get it, Raghuramji.
Two cases, one when Shantaram died. Second thing is when Shastriji died. That was also another such a moment. And Shastriji on the other hand said, okay, Raghu, I'm going to take care of it. And like that he announced it and went away. My God. Can we believe that?
But that dukkha again, like, when we see death in others' home or anything, I think that is the dukkha is there. I mean, that
Dukkha
is
is there, right. Dukkha is there, right.
shoka, yes. It is again like you are saying that it is, we are not bound by it. So unless there is, I get it's very
Dukkha, actually dukkha is divine. Shoka is materialistic.
correct. Very nice. Few concepts what you explain just becomes an impression. Like for us, for me, Aarti and Shubha Didi, freedom and choice became like that. So we are never able to come out of it. Vedanta comes to that and stays there. So this is one such thing. So today's topic, dukkha and shoka, somewhere it has made a great impression on me. Today's discussion.
Look at this fellow. He joins the moha and shoka. He did not put dukkha and shoka. You see, we contribute. We see them together. That's why I said, when you read Upanishad, you have to be very careful. They're very dangerous fellows.
Very nice.
Right.
Raghuramji, I'll stop the record.
Okay.
Okay, Raghuramji.